And there we are. Once again, thank you everybody who is joining us live for this special Q&A session about Carmelita Gardens with developer Phil Hahn and on-site representative Angie Bologna. This is a really special session because it's not all the time that we get Phil to sit down, put on a button-down shirt, and answer these questions for us. I love it. I love it. So first and foremost, thank you again, everybody, for joining us. And with that, we're going to go through our quick agenda here. Number one is we're going to talk about why Belize. We're going to see why more and more people are deciding to call Belize home. Number two, we're going to go through a Carmelita Gardens review, tell you a little bit more about the property. I think many of you on the line have talked to Angie at some point or one of our Luna team members. And so we're going to give you the latest updates on what's happening. And then number three is go through your questions live with the developer. So welcome to Belize. Belize is a small country about the size of Massachusetts that's nestled in between Mexico and Guatemala. This country is part of the CARICOM, the Caribbean Community Countries, and it is also Central American. So you are going to hear English as the official language, but of course you'll hear a lot of Spanish get spoken and Caribbean Creole. And we find that this English is one of the big reasons why people make Belize home. It is very daunting to try to learn a second language or a third language or just generally another language. And if you don't know Spanish in Central America, then you may be looking in other parts of the world. So that's why most people tend to gravitate towards Belize ultimately because English is the official language, but also because it's a very warm and welcoming community. You do tend to find that as you spend more time here, the locals are some of the nicest people in the world with the biggest hearts, making it easy to call Belize home. Traditionally, Belize really started as a tourist destination for the adventure travelers in the 70s because of the diving that's along the coast. So there's a little island up here called Ambergris Caye that's paralleling the barrier reef, the largest living barrier reef in the world. And so a lot of people started coming to Belize for the diving. Over the years, more people started coming to the country to explore the rest of it because it is such a magical place. Belize is known as Mother Nature's best kept secret. So yes, you have the diving, the scuba, the snorkel, all of that, but you also have really incredible jungles, Mayan ruins, a rich, rich history here, hiking, waterfalls, the tropical environment that so many of us are looking for as we're leaving North America. So we're seeing more and more flights are coming down to Belize. Every year we do have more flights coming direct into the country. So this is just a snippet of it, but we also have direct coming in from Seattle, New York, Baltimore, Chicago, Charlotte. I know that they just started from Montreal. They're starting this year from Montreal, Canada. But then we also have Toronto and Calgary coming in direct as well. So as more and more people come to the country, we're going to expect more direct flights popping up. And this is a huge one, especially if you are not a Belizean, because Belize is very foreigner friendly, as we were starting to talk about with English being the official language. In addition to that, you receive title to your property. So you have the same rights as locals when it comes to property ownership in Belize, which is something that is very important as you're buying property in another country. And then, of course, the attractive residency options. They have a retiree program, and they also have a permanent residency program that you can apply for if you want to call Belize home full time. But we're going to focus in on the Cayo District. The Cayo District is probably my favorite district in the entire country of Belize because of that tropical environment, the lush, fertile land, the jungles, the Mayan ruins, the hiking, the zip lining. There's a very strong Mennonite community as well called Spanish Lookout, which is where there is a lot of production of woodworking that's happening there. Agriculture also in Spanish Lookout. The golf course, there's like one golf course in the country, and that is in Cayo. And there's also the capital of the country in Cayo called Belmopan. When you're there, if you haven't yet been to Cayo or to this area specifically, go to the ATM caves. The ATM caves is such a rush. You do have to be a little nimble to do it, but essentially you're going through a cave that has water in it and climbing up in rocks, and ultimately your final destination is going to be an old Mayan site. So you're going to see pottery shards along the way. It's the crystallized Mayan. That's the skeletal remains are there now, and it's just so fantastic. I've just never seen anything like it before. It's definitely for someone who's a little bit more adventurous. If you're not as adventurous, then you can just go kick back on the Belize River in an inner tube with a cold drink in your hand and enjoy the tropical environment. But it's really unlike anything that I've experienced in the world. And so here, this is the Cayo District right over here, where you see the pin is that general area. But this is actually the fastest growing district in Belize. So there are other areas of the country like Ambergris Caye. I'm sure a lot of people have heard about being the coastal destination. But when people are looking to come and have a different sort of experience in Belize, they're gravitating towards Cayo. And there's the Belize Tourism Board, the BTB. They put together annual reports of tourism. And if you look at Cayo on a year after year basis since 2020, you see that that is actually the fastest growing district in terms of tourism compared to anywhere else in the country. And I really feel like it was over COVID that a lot of people started gravitating more towards Cayo because of the rich land, the soil that's there, right? So if you want a self-sustaining community, you want to have a homestead, you can easily do that there in Cayo. You have space, you have land, and it's just more and more becoming more and more attractive for folks. It's also considered the cultural center of the country. So we talked about the Mayan ruin sites. One of the most popular is called Zunantanich, which is spectacular, worth going to. You can get a guide or you can go explore on your own, but you have Mayan ruins scattered throughout the entire district. And actually, fun fact, at Carmelita Gardens, there are some Mayan pottery shards, right, Phil? And other fun aspects from the Mayans. There's Maya mounds, by the way, folks, there at Carmelita Gardens dedicated to the Mayans. So it's pretty neat to have that right there on site. And then we do tend to see that Cayo is considered an off-grid mecca because of the natural environment. You tend to find many self-sustainable communities there. Not quite like Carmelita. I'd say Carmelita is definitely one of a kind, being a master plan community, but you do tend to find more off-grid properties within this area. So going to Carmelita Gardens, if you can see the pin right over here, we're only about half a mile from Santa Familia, which is this town right over here, 3 miles from Bullet Tree, which is this area over here, and then about 7 miles to San Ignacio, which is right over here. And then on the other side is Spanish Lookout, another 7 miles. And Spanish Lookout is what I mentioned to you being that large Mennonite community. So you think we have fresh produce, fresh butter, great woodworking just right around the corner from you. And I do like to mention this to you because when you look in on the Google map, you can see how close Carmelita really is to everything, yet it's far enough away. So you're not going to be in the middle of the Santa Elena or San Ignacio hustle bustle, but with the new bridge that's going in, right from Santa Familia to Santa Elena, you can be there a lot quicker should you decide that you want to go to the larger grocery stores or some of the fast food restaurants or whatever you're looking for within the area. So here's a little overview of what's going on. There's a lot of infrastructure work that's happening in the Santa Familia area right now. I mentioned to you that bridge that's going in. You can see the road right behind the text here, but they are actively working on that bridge. In addition to that, where you see this little dark blue line, they're paving the road. The government is paving the road from Spanish Lookout to San Ignacio to Bullet Tree. It's going to be about 15 to 20 miles worth of paved road. A lot of it is done or getting close to be completed. Driving out to Carmelita Gardens is very, very smooth now. If you're somebody who's been to Carmelita before, you may have noticed that there were some potholes after leaving Santa Familia or coming from Spanish Lookout, but the road's getting graded and it is getting much, much smoother. It's like we were saying before, you're close enough to everything, but you're also far enough removed that you're not necessarily in the craziness of all of it. So with that, though, I want to introduce the developer, Phil Hahn. Phil, why don't you give us a little bit more about you? What inspired you to start Carmelita Gardens?
Yeah, thanks, Rachel. It's really exciting. You do a great job. You make me want to live here. Oh, wait, I do live here. No, this is like it's a dream come true. I tell you, I go back to inspiration that my father gave me. He grew up in the Great Depression in Frankenmuth, Michigan, a little small agrarian town. And he used to tell me stories about how he would have his my grandfather, his father would teach piano lessons in exchange for like, bread or sausage or something like that. So they kind of got into this whole bartering thing. And his childhood was like this idyllic childhood. He didn't, even know there was a Great Depression going on because a small little self-sustaining town was able to, care for itself, produce its own, food and beer. Had great brewery, also very important. No. So that was really the inspiration. And, it was like years later that I was ever able to even consider doing it. And like you're saying, you get the breadbasket of Belize, of really of the Caribbean, with the CARICOM countries. Belize is a net food exporter. So we have this fertile climate, and I thought, it's perfect. Let's go, off grid and have gardens and, have a grow a, great, little small, and we started off with 98 acres and 80 cattle and a dream. And now got over 50 houses that are beautiful, well built, people living in them completely off grid, not giving up any creature comforts. And now, all of our dream come true for real estate investors. Anybody that owns property is a real estate investor. So all of the owners and, for a developer, what a dream come true to see that road pull out of Carmelita, and you pull out and you're not, it's like smooth. It's like when I first drove it, I drove up back and forth a half a dozen times. I'm like, I've been waiting for so long. This is great. And like you said, now that bridge, wow. I mean, in 5 minutes, you can go to the largest farmers market in the country. Yep, right there. And and yeah, so if you go to the other map that you had up, yeah, there. So you can see where the bridge is by Santa Elena. So you kind of go down,
Yeah.
down, 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 keep
With
going
your
down.
your
Yeah,
flip.
right there, right there. You see the bridge? Yeah. Anyway, it's going right across there. It's like just a stone's throw away from Carmelita. So yeah, in 5 minutes, you're in San Ignacio, Santa Elena. So the minister, Orlando Habet, of our area minister, who's also he's the area representative. He's the minister of sustainable development. And so when he was elected, he said, his goal, his dream was that instead of just the twin towns of San Ignacio, Santa Elena, it'll be the tri-towns, with Santa Familia being the third one, each one being connected by a bridge. And wow, you can see that, things are changing, and even some exciting things like you were talking about the Maya mounds in Carmelita. Well, they also are going to be starting a new excavation. It's right there in Santa Familia called Yashush, and they say it's like the same size as Calpet. So a really significant site that has been untouched. And so next year, when Dr. Awe brings in all of his student teams, they're going to mobilize at Yashush and start, because they kind of feel like they've done Kyle Petch. It's they're ready to get a fresh start, and they're going to assign a team in Carmelita Gardens because they say that our mounds were like an elite resident, intermediate elite is what they say. So it would have been like a sheriff, tax collector, whatever. And so we're going to have an excavation actively going on next summer with student teams. So that's very exciting.
Oh, that's neat. And that's such a unique feature. I don't know many
Yeah.
people in the States who are buying properties in Colorado or something and saying, oh, the Mayans were around the corner from us, or
Right,
something
right,
along
right.
those lines.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you see so many, developments that have that, like golf courses.
Yep.
And I remember years ago, before I started Carmelita, reading that, like, if you like include children or not, but like 60 to 80% of the people that live on golf courses don't play golf. They just like the green space in their backyard. And
Yep.
so that's why if you look at the Carmelita map, you see that we've got green spaces and, riverfront and all of that. The land utilization authority requires 10% green space when you're getting approval. We have 20%. And it's open for, orchards and gardens and other recreational activities, things like that. So yeah, a lot of different inspirations, but interestingly, golf course developments were an inspiration only because of the green space, but make productive green space. And
That's right.
yeah,
Fill them up with fruit trees and producing plants.
Right. Yep. Yep.
I
Exactly.
love it. I love it. And when you start to zoom in on the map, here we have not allocated or mentioned all of the green spaces, but I know Phil, when we were going through it initially, it was about 20% of the property, right out of 100 acres, that's allocated for green space, and that's really remarkable because typically, like you were saying, a lot of developers or people are coming in and they'll allocate the absolute minimum, the 10%, and that's it.
Right.
What I'm also seeing is that they're not even doing anything with it, right? They're just kind of keeping it there because they couldn't develop it. So a lot,
Correct.
right? A lot of these developers are coming in, subdividing the parcels into the land into smaller parcels, selling them off and leaving. Whereas this has been, I'm sure, a labor of love for you over the last, what,
It
13,
has, yeah.
14 years at least, right?
Yeah.
Where you've really seen the property grow and come together and start to have that community element where I know Angie's
Right.
on site and she goes, "Did you know that they do breakfast on site on Tuesday and Thursday
Uh-huh.
as a community or whatever days it was? And then they go to Taco Tuesdays on Tuesdays." And it's really neat to hear of that community coming together and that you don't have to facilitate it as the developer, right? It's an organic growth
Right.
amongst
Right.
community members
Yeah.
who are
Yeah, oh, it's great. Yeah, the community really is just run it. Like, we kind of get the ball rolling, set the stage, provide the venue, and
yeah,
then let it go. And so, like you said, if people are jumping in, doing all sorts of, organizing river floats or, hey, we're going to go to the botanical gardens together. Who wants to go? And hey, need a ride to the airport. And, it's like, oh, I'll take you. I'm going anyway. And, so it really is functioning that way. And it's great to see.
Oh, I love it. It is really, really neat to see that. And folks, as we start to look at the community map here, it's about 98 acres. So I'll round up to 100 for round numbers. But within the property, you are going to see community spaces, third spaces where people can come together. So there's the community center over here, which if you're visiting town and you want to stop by and see Angie, this is where she's based over here at Cottage Park West. And also at Cottage Park West is where they have tables and they have chairs for people to come together and to host events. And then behind this area, there's the orchards and gardens, and the on-site horticulturists have planted a variety of fruits and vegetables, from citrus
Mhm.
plants to papaya to tomatoes. I mean, we've seen a whole variety. And when we were there, talking to Dahlia, who's one of the on-site, she works for the on-site maintenance company. She was like, "Oh, we just did some pickling, and do you want any?" So they gave us the hot and was it hot? You remember, Andrew, like the hot and set. What was it? This pickles?
The sweet pickles.
Yes,
Sweet.
yeah, yeah, spicy and sweet. They were so good, so good. I brought a bunch home. But to see that they're able to do that from the land that you're living on is really neat. And within this area of Belize and in the Cayo District, having that rich agricultural land is such a blessing in itself, where you're able to really have that green thumb, even if maybe you weren't able to do that in your home country. But there's a lot going on here at Carmelita, and a couple of points that I did want to highlight. Number one is going to be, well, of course, the community center. Number two is going to be the construction depot. So this is something I think that is really important to note, because there is an in-house construction company, so you don't have to try to find your own and to do any of that. But this is where they house a lot of materials, so you don't have to worry about there being material shortages or delays in delivery or anything along those lines. The construction team will be able to go right over here to the depot, get what they need, and continue on with construction. So very, very wise of you, Phil, to be putting that in over here.
Well, it also does function with a community spirit too. Donald, one of our owners, he managed a little wood shop there that we're looking, to expand so
Nice.
that it can be kind of like a maker space. So we have that eventually where the depot will grow into that, like I said, maker space as well as the construction materials and staging area, prefab area.
Nice. Smart. Smart. While the space is there.
Yeah, yeah, it's the idea of a community like this is where not everybody needs to have their own sawzall or their own planer or whatever. But when you need one, you need one. So we have that equipment that people can come and rent this space like like I said, like a maker space, and so the more kind of things that we can do like that, I think the better it is to accommodate all sorts of different interests and lifestyles. And this is what we're finding. We have diverse group of folks that do have, some common links, but, people have different interests. And, Deborah, she, teaching sewing to girls in the Santa Familia. Rhonda, retired music teacher and therapist, going and teaching music lessons to Santa Familia school children. So, you find, what you're either but what you've done in your life, your vocation that you want to continue to do, or an avocation, something you haven't done before that now you want to start doing. And people are jumping in and doing that. And it's really, really exciting to see.
I love it. And I think that, for anyone who's considering expatting or relocating to Belize, that is something that is going to be important, right? Is what are you going to do to fill your day with? And there are so many ways to keep yourself busy in Belize. It's just getting started, right? So whether you want to, I don't think there's a book club, isn't there a book club? Or there you could start one if there's not one, right? There's a Bible study group. There's a handful of
Mhm.
different groups that the community members have started amongst themselves because of their interest in it. So
Right.
it's neat to
Hmm.
see that. And then I do want to highlight here too, Scout Park. I love that there's a pickleball court here, but I am going to
Yeah.
mention too that where the future pool is, I know Phil, you've been working on the plans for this. I'm really excited about that for the community pool with lap lanes, and then also a covered, right? Covered pickleball area.
Covered pickleball. Yes.
That's
Yep.
important in the tropics.
Yeah, yeah, no, it is. So it does, the sun, the rain, but also the thing that is really nice in Carmelita is the breeze, unless you're playing pickleball. It's like, so to be able to also give a little, windbreak as well as sun and rain. Yeah, it's really exciting. And the location, right up there overlooking the town square, to have the pool and a little community center, covered pickleball court. It's kind of do double duty. It's one of the things too about town planning, if you can have some redundancy, because people are occasionally playing pickleball and people are occasionally having potlucks, and so you schedule it. The same facility can provide for both uses, and so yeah, we're excited. So with the road, the bridge, new houses, new owners, residents coming in, and now with the community center, pickleball court, pool, also recreation area. We'll have other things out there with a sand volleyball court, bocce ball, cornhole, things like that. So a real center of conviviality right there, and at the entrance to Carmelita. So I'm so excited. Our best days are ahead of us. Just keeps getting better and better every time I turn around, and let's go drive up and down the road, and then one day I'll be able to pull in and jump in the pool.
I love it. I love it. And in the meantime, people can jump in the river.
Right, right. Yeah, so the status of the pool right now, the our in-house draftsman is working on the plans and getting up with the engineer. We had a few design changes as happens, as you're going along. The idea was always to make sure we had a pool, the community center, things like that, but was to work in conjunction with the residents. And so many developers just come in and say, okay, here's my idea, this is what I'm doing, and I'll pay for it. And I was like, no, let's wait and see what the community needs and what they want.
Yeah.
And so now we have the design. Like I said, we tweaked it a little bit. So it's moving along. And yeah, it's really exciting.
It is. I know it is really exciting. And it's exciting to see all the new homes that are going up and such a variety of home types too. And I think
Mhm.
I do have some slides on all that. I'm sorry, guys. We're just kind of talking here and whatnot. I do have some slides, but these are all things that we just talked about over here with the gardening. Plenty of areas for you to garden. We're either right there in your own backyard, should you decide, or you can go check out the community gardens. We talked about the pickleball, also doubles as a basketball court, river access. There are many parts along the property here. I just highlighted one on the map, but there are many areas along the property that are river access. And then we talked about the pool and the outdoor gathering areas. So it's really exciting. And, whether you're somebody who's looking to relocate here full time, or perhaps you're just looking to be a snowbird, I know that's becoming more common, or perhaps you're just looking for a plan B where you're saying, I don't necessarily know what's going on where I want to be in the future, but let me at least secure the property today. We're seeing more and more people who are taking that route. And Carmelita Gardens is really a top contender for a lot of them. And being a completely off-grid, self-sustaining community, I think is important for a lot of people. And even if you are off grid, you don't have to give up any creature comforts, Phil, like you mentioned before. And I think that's that's so important to mention. And the largest home now at Carmelita Gardens, I have not put the picture up yet. I do have a picture from when we were there taking photos last week. But how many, do you recall, Phil, how many square feet is? I mean, it's huge. It has a sauna, a gym. It's a big one. It's a big
It's a
one.
big one. Yeah. Yeah. I don't actually remember exactly the square footage. But it's nice. A lot of times, it's about the features and the design and
Mhm.
the square footage is, important to get some kind of a scale.
Sure.
But I would say, don't buy a house by the square footage because, you don't buy a car by the pound,
I like that saying. No,
Uh,
it's true. And typically what we actually find in Belize is a lot of people are downsizing, right? Because you don't
mhm.
necessarily need that same interior square footage that you have had
Right.
at home because it's the tropics. So we live outdoors. And what you'll see as you're driving around Carmelita Gardens are the porches, right? The outdoor
Mhm.
verandas. Some of them are screened in, like you can see here at Tamalita. Others are not, and they just have a beautiful feel to it. Put your chair up, read your book, put up a hammock, and
Mhm.
enjoy that breeze that Phil was talking about. But there's a variety of homes, and I really like what you've done of having an in-house team, like an architect, a draftsman who can sit with the owners and talk about what it is that they're looking to build. They can choose from the floor plans. I know you guys have a variety of models, or they don't have to build from the floor plans like Tamalita, Casablanca. I know that River Escape, these are all some custom builds. But there
Mhm.
are really nice plans should somebody need a little bit of inspiration.
Right. Yep.
So, and this was the map that I think Phil was starting to refer to earlier with all the gardens and orchards, and you can see just all of the dedicated green space here. The brown lots are identified as civic lots or commercial lots. So if you, let's say, have a business or you want to open a cafe or something along those lines, maybe a little wine shop, that could be nice with some
Right.
tapas and afternoon wine. That would be best done in one of the brown spaces or something that's going to serve the community there. And so that upside down triangle that we were talking about, that right over here is where that pool area is going with the other outdoor facilities. So at this time, less than 25% of inventory remains. And it's pretty remarkable to see with over 200 properties, 200 lots here, seeing that we're at less than 25% is something that I find really quite remarkable for this property here. But I do expect them to be going, fairly quickly. And now as a lot of people are looking for that plan B for their options abroad. And something that I really appreciate, Phil, that you have agreed to is developer financing, because not everybody has 100% of the cash right now, or perhaps they do, but they want to be saving that towards their build. And so by offering developer financing on the lot, it just makes it a lot easier for people to get in at the entry pricing. So you have the light green, you'll see the three different shades of green. The light green lots are about 1/8 of an acre going for 39,000. The green village lots, that middle green color going for 49,000, and the green estate, which is the largest of the green lots, going for 59,000. And so when you start to really run some numbers, and we'll use this example of one of the 1/8 acre properties for 39,000. At 20% down, you're looking at 7,800 down, financed amount of about 31,000, and then your monthly payments of 441. So I know for a lot of people, this is probably just a few nights of eating out, where you can instead, sacrifice those nights eating out, put that towards your property in Belize, and start to make your dream a reality here. And then also with, oh, did you want to say anything? I thought I heard something.
Yeah, yeah. One of the reasons that I started this also was that it allowed people to, get in early and plan. It's like, okay, I'm not retiring for 5 years yet, or whatever thing. I'm moving, I'm doing this, but I want to go ahead and get a lot and do it now, and then when I'm ready, I'll come down and build because we don't have a build requirement.
Yep. Smart.
So this is a way to go ahead and secure your property now.
Yeah, smart, really smart way to do that. And then also for the river lots, there are not many remaining at this point that are developer inventory that have the financing, only 5 right now. So if you're somebody who's looking for a river lot with financing, this would be a really great time to jump on it. And then even more rare is having those double lots, those side-by-side lots. So these are about half an acre each, where together they make up about an acre. So I find that as a really great opportunity. And with Phil financing 80%, you can make that a reality for you. So here's just a visual from lot 157. But again, you put down almost 16,000. Your monthly payments are a little over 1,200 a month, but that secures you an acre on the river coming back here, an acre on the river. This is the Belize River all around you. And then having just really, really incredible views. And this picture is actually a little older because there have been a few new homes that have sprouted up since then. But
Uh-huh.
you can see an
And we're
actual.
and we're working on the sundial in the roundabout
Oh yeah,
also.
the sundial right over here. That I gotta add that to my map too. I can't believe I left
Yeah, yes, Belize's biggest sundial.
big. I love one of the
Maybe
only.
only, well, I don't know.
Yeah. But I just wanted to mention this map as well, and I'm happy to send this out to anyone. But what you're going to notice about Carmelita Gardens is that there are different feels in different parts of the community. You can see this grouping over here. These are the green lots, some green lots over here, but you can see how wooded it is. And this is a question I know, Angie, you get a lot is people saying, well, are there trees on the lot? Like how wooded is it? I love my trees. And so you have the woods, you have a really wooded area over here on the river. And then this would be the area that you want to look at if having trees, already matured trees is important to you. But also remember the ground is really fertile. So you can plant trees and wait a couple of years and they're just going to be popping right up. So, and there's kind of folks that can help with the landscaping aspect too at Carmelita Gardens. So you don't have to try to navigate through new tropical plants all on your own. Let me talk to you guys about a couple of the Carmelita Gardens benefits, and then I'm going to open the floor for questions. I'm seeing some really good questions come in. And I know, Angie, you had some clients too who sent over who are not able to join, but had some great questions they wanted to get asked. All right. So, and Phil just mentioned this before, is that there's no build timeline requirement. So you will build when the time is ready for you. So just like Phil mentioned, let's say retirement's not for another 5 or 7 years, 10 years, pick up the property now, pay your monthly payments, and then when the time is right, you can decide to build your home, which leads to number 2, which is having the in-house and on-site support. So there is an in-house architect, there is an in-house draftsman, and what you'll do is you'll schedule a meeting with them, go through what you're looking to accomplish. They can work with you on custom floor plans, choose from the models that they have, do a blend of both, let them know what's really important to you, and from there they're able to build your dream home that you really envisioned of having in Belize. And in addition to that, there's an on-site maintenance team who can look after your home when you're not there. This is a big one because I think a lot of times when people are moving to Belize, what they don't realize is if they're not here, the jungle takes over. And I mean, the jungle, the wildlife, they'll find your home empty. They're going to be non-paying tenants there at your home. So you do want to make sure that you have somebody looking after your property when you're not there. And there is that on-site maintenance team who can do that for you. They can do walkthroughs of your property, make sure everything is looking good. They can clean your property when you're not there, go inside, do the landscaping, do all of that. Or even if you are there and you don't want to deal with it, they can take care of that for you too. So that's really big. That's something that you don't get in just a subdivision, but having a master plan community, it has been thought out. And then, of course, as we were talking about before, too, is the attractive developer financing. So developer Phil is working with you to provide those flexible monthly payments to be able to save a little bit more for your build or to be able just to have your daily expenses get covered for you in the meantime. So some really unique benefits about Carmelita Gardens, just to rehash, no build timeline requirement. Number 2, the in-house and on-site support. And number 3 is that attractive developer financing. So a couple of home resales that I wanted to mention. If you're ready to move, I know, Angie, you've been getting more and more of these people who are saying, you know what, I'm ready to come down. I don't want to wait for a build. We do have a few homes that are already constructed that are move-in ready. Casa Tortuga, it's that charming, quintessential, riverfront cabin. Like you think if you're going on a fishing trip for a weekend or something, it's like that quintessential feel to it. You walk into it and it smells like that fresh wood, right? But it's a 2-bedroom, 1 bath. That's on the river, and that's going for $252. Casa Tamalita, it's a 2-bedroom, 2 bath with a loft. This is really unique because these sellers are willing to offer 10-year financing. So they are fairly flexible, I will say, on this financing. And because it's very difficult for foreigners to get financing on homes in Belize, this is a huge advantage, very, very big advantage. And then number 3 over here is Casa Aziza. This is a lovely riverfront home. It is on about a half of an acre parcel with mature landscaping, 2-bedroom, 2 bath with a loft. I think one of my favorite parts about this home is the laundry chute. I know that sounds there are many other wonderful things about this property, but this goes to show like the thought that went into it. Is the laundry chute from upstairs? Smart, very well thought out, this home. And this one's going for $350. All All right, so what I'm going to do now is open the floor to questions. This is really what I wanted to do while we have Phil for the hour and go through any questions that are popping in here. Just go to that Q&A section. And then I do also have a list from people who were not able to join us. Angie, if you had any others from your clients, we can certainly get those answered as well. All right, Stephen is saying, is there an ETA on the new bridge? Well, it's under construction right now. I mean, things move on Belize time, but I thought they were moving pretty quickly. I'm going to say best guess, maybe
Yeah,
like
no, I think they're moving faster than island time on the road and the bridge. I think the pilings went in a while ago, and now they're putting in the beams.
yep.
Yeah, I think realistically, I would say by the end of next year, but I really think it's going to move faster than that. I mean, the road is really moving along. I was
Mhm.
talking to the minister about it, and he's like, "Wow, it's really moving fast."
Yeah.
Which is great. It's exciting because yeah, we've been waiting a long time. And then when it was announced, I thought, okay, it's one of these campaign things, and we'll see. But no, they just like got right on it, and yeah. So I would say by this time next year, I think we'll be able to um, be using the bridge and the road to have the blacktop on it all the way Spanish Lookout to Bullet Tree.
Love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I know. I think there was one day, Angie, when you came out of the office and you were driving back and you're like, you'll never believe it. They like covered this much road in just the 8, 9 hours that I was in the
I've
office.
been keeping Rachel updated on the road, and I'm always like, Rachel, you won't believe this. And I'm sending videos. I'm like, don't mind my videos. They're not the best, but I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I know all the Santa Familia villagers are really, really
Oh,
happy
yeah.
about it too
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
All right. So Gayla is saying, can you rent? And I can answer that one. So each home, if you do want to rent out your home, you are certainly able to do so. You'll have to get the Belize Tourism Board BTB license for it. It's essentially a hotel license. There is one property on site right now where those homeowners, they actually live on site. This is a second home that they have at Carmelita Gardens. They decided to rent. And so they've gone through that BTB process. And I think they just about finished. So I
Mhm.
can always introduce you to them for insight about how they did it. But I will tell you, there is a demand. There are a lot of people who are wanting to come and stay at Carmelita Gardens, but we just, besides that one that's going through the process now and just about finishing, we don't have any with its permit. So I think there's a real market for that.
Yeah, and as the accessibility increases and then more activities, like I say, the archaeological digs and other things that are going to be popping up in and around, there will be an increasing demand.
Mhm. Yep, agreed.
So, right now, a lot of people, because it's been remote, so they look for places in San Ignacio and Santa Elena. But you're 5 minutes across the bridge, now all of a sudden, oh, they come over here. And like you said, people like to get away, just not that far away. So it'll be like, okay, we're going to go over there, but it's only 5 minutes. But it's
Right.
going to feel like it's away.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. Good point. Anonymous attendee is saying, how many total homes are planned to be at Carmelita Gardens? And I'll come back here to the site map as well. I think this will, here we go.
Yeah, so we have 245 lots. There's going to be some civic lots, and there's some of the business lots. When you take those out and just look at the residential lots, I think it's 222.
Yes.
So that, and then we may have some areas where we would do some multi-unit housing, maybe some townhouses. We did the cottages in 2016. The tiny house movement was really big, and the plan is kind of this traditional town plan has a higher density around the town square, like you typically see in big cities, small towns. So the lots are smaller near the town square, and then they get bigger as you go out away. So the cottages were appropriate scale and size and location for that. And we did them in such a way to make it a more affordable product for people. It worked. It wasn't for everybody. So some people opted to buy another lot, build a bigger house, design a bigger house. And so now we have a huge variety of, cottages, bungalows, villas, manor houses, and different construction techniques from wood to, concrete. And now our kind of main one is it's a little more expensive, but it's an insulated concrete wall. And that really seems to work well to really cool in an off-grid solar powered house. It's like having like an igloo cooler. It just it's insulated and it's got the low maintenance longevity of concrete, and lower insurance rates. So yeah, we've and this is when people come and tour. We have projects that are ongoing, so you can see, okay, here's the walls before they're covered up, and then this is the roof framing. We use all the beautiful exotic hardwood, granite countertops, all of that. So yeah, eventually 200 or so houses, and like I said, maybe some other duplex, quadruplex, something like that, to provide maybe a more affordable product for people.
Yeah, and I wanted to mention too that, there are a couple of homes or homeowners who are thinking about adding like a little casita or a secondary
Mhm.
property on their lot, which you are able to do. So let's say you have your primary home and then you're thinking about, when friends and family come visit and maybe you just need them close, but a little bit of space and you want to build that little
Right.
casita, or you want to rent that out, right? Just an extra source of rental income. You can do that on your property. You just have to be within the setback rules. So it's definitely possible to put that ADU on if you want.
Like that, as well as the architectural compatibility. Want it to
Yes.
kind of match your house or the general architecture.
Yep.
We've had some people over the years that say, want to buy a prefab Mennonite house, but it just doesn't really fit the architectural compatibility, the rhythm. So that's, by having those guidelines in place, it has really helped to grow and, increase property values over the years.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I would absolutely agree with that. Right. You have 100 acres there and you know that something nice will go up next to you. Right. Or maybe nothing will go up next to you if you purchase the lot next to you too. Right.
Yeah, a lot of people do that. Yeah, yep,
Yep.
exactly.
A
Yeah.
lot of people, a lot of people are doing that. All right, so this is a great question from Michael, and he's saying if you buy land and don't build on it for a few years, does the landscape overrun, or do you have to hire someone to keep your lot from becoming an eyesore?
Yeah, you need to maintain it. It's stuff grows fast in the tropics. And so Rachel was talking about the on-site maintenance company, and they contract privately with owners to go and mow or bush hog the lot, just to keep the jungle from coming back in again.
Yep.
Um,
Yep, exactly. Perfect. Thank you. And then the next question, does developer financing allow for paying more than the minimum or paying it off earlier than the 8 years?
Yes, yeah, there's no prepayment penalty, no, yeah. So if you want to make additional payments and or pay it off early, that's fine. Yeah, we're easy when it comes to that. Yeah.
Awesome.
If you want to send money, we'll take it. No.
Love it. All
We
right.
got a pool to build, right?
I love it. All right, another good question here from Michael. He's saying, are you responsible for filtering your own water and are you responsible for emptying your own septic tank?
So yes and yes. So the motto is independent together. So while we do have a lot of togetherness and functions, and then also we're working with each other on caring for the property and the homes. The independent part is that each estate is really its own entity, with its generating its own power, collecting its own rain, storing that, filtering it, pressurizing the system, having multi-chambered, eco-friendly septic tanks and the drain fields. So all of that is within your estate. Now, with that said, the other thing about the tropics is stuff decomposes really, really fast, and it's been only on the very rare occasion in 15 years now. Actually, we just had our
Quinceañera.
Okay.
quinceañera.
You got
15
all
years
dressed up
of,
for a
yes,
Philip dance.
yes, exactly. Yes. So yeah, on September 8th, we were at 15. Carmelita's 15 years old, and yeah, so she's young and beautiful.
I love
And yeah, so in all of that time though, we again, we've only had a couple of situations where we've had to have a septic tank emptied out. And it was actually in the cottage where we have the microgrid, where there are multiple units connected to the same one. But other individual ones, pretty much, they just, like I said, stuff just biodegrades fast in the tropics.
Yep. Perfect. And I know you mentioned this about the water filtration, but you can choose
Mhm.
how you want to filter your water. You guys have
Yeah.
recommendations, though, I'm going to guess, right? You and Luis.
So the typical one is where they have sediment and charcoal filters that it goes through, but we do have people that also have like little small under kitchen sink RO filtration systems. Doing a whole RO system, I mean, you could do it for the house. It just goes through a lot of water, so you would need to store, collect, a lot more water. Whereas doing the filtration systems with the charcoal sediment, and that seems to work well.
Yeah, perfect. And I know too, a lot of people ask about drinking water and is it potable? And what people tend to do is look at the 5 gallon jugs of water and they actually deliver them
Right.
to you right there at Carmelita Gardens. You just put your order in with Dahlia and they'll
Hmm.
deliver them for you. So you don't even have to leave the community. Or you could go, quarter mile down the road into Santa Familia and get your water jug filled up where there's a grocery store. Oh, something that I do want to mention to the folks on the line is we did do a Santa Familia tour. So Angie and I went around and we showed you some hidden hotspots that you might not even know exist. I learned there's a gas station there in Santa Familia. After all these years, I lived, have a house down the road. I didn't even know there was a gas station there. So we will show those to you folks if you want that video. Just reach out to us and we'll send it over your way. But all right, good stuff there. And then this is Billy. Hi, Billy. Billy did visit us, and then she purchased a lot at Carmelita Gardens. And she said, "I have a lot, and it will be a while before I can build. I'm wondering if I planted a couple of fruit trees on the lot, would the on-site management tend to water it if needed?"
Yeah, they can, again, they can accommodate the needs. And we have our owner that people call Tree Dave. He's like our Johnny Appleseed. And so he goes around and, he plants trees and he prunes them and he waters them. And anytime anybody mentions adding a tree anywhere in the community, Dave's eyes light up. Okay, where do you go? What do you want? What species? And so, yes, Billy, you'll be in good hands with Dave.
Perfect. And then you did answer these next two questions here, Phil. So I'll just reiterate it. Utilities such as septic, we did talk about that. You'll have your own septic for your each home. And then
Mhm.
if you do a Mennonite pre-built home, could you get utilities? Oh, we're not doing the Mennonite homes here. There's covenants and codes that for anyone who's interested in Carmelita Gardens, we'll make sure that we send that to you right away. But that is just a great way to maintain the value of the properties. Phil was starting to mention this before. And they're, I mean, I'd say fairly loose with it. You saw a variety of different types of homes. There's Italian style home, the little bungalows, the cute
Mhm.
cottages and villas, and a whole variety. But you'll want to work with the architect for your
Yeah, yeah. We don't have like a severe, pattern book, and you have to, but it's just a general guideline to follow the kind of the architectural patterns that have been set. And, until, now really, it's pretty much been just me looking at, working with our owners, their ideas and everything, and just kind of tweaking it for what's appropriate for the off grid, for the setting, for the climate, like I said, with porches, screen porches, open porches, orientation to the wind, to the sun. But now, as we're seating, boards for HOAs and committees, there is a provision within our restrictive covenants to have an architectural control committee, and so we'll be seating that committee soon as well. And I'm really looking forward to it. It's fun to collaborate with other people and to get their ideas and kind of now, let the town run itself.
Yep. Yeah, and that leads into
Can
Cynthia's.
we jump in?
Oh, good.
Sorry,
Go ahead,
Rachel.
Angie.
Now that you're talking about the covenants and codes, I know that a lot of my clients have asked, can we build a fence and what type of fence can we build if we can?
Yes, and so the idea is, not like big, like a dog kennel chain link fence around. So again, just something that is attractive and compatible with the architecture. And Belize, I've noticed that even, walls are called fences. So we have to define fence. But yeah, if you're looking, a white picket fence, or you want something that's a little bit higher to keep pets in, yeah, that can be done. And we have some examples of fences that look attractive and simple. They're not expensive, but yeah, just the big tall chain link fence that looks like a prison yard or a dog kennel. And we'd say no, not
Okay,
that.
thank you.
Sure.
Love it. Well, and that does actually go along the lines over here of what Cynthia was asking. She said, is there a pet policy?
Yeah, I think a lot of people think that it's required to have a pet, but it's not. But we have a lot of pets, and we actually have these different WhatsApp groups, and it's really fun to log in and see what's going on. And one of them is like nature and wildlife. And recently, one of our owners has asked people to post photos of their pets, of animals, wild animals and all of that around the neighborhood for, I think it's October 4th is World Animal Day. So she's collecting all these photos. So it's been really great to see people posting, funny pictures of their, dogs and cats and then, birds. And I actually, years ago, I had a pet and I did find the pictures of a helgramite, which is the larvae for a Dobson fly. That is really good fishing bait that you can get by just turning over the rocks in the river here and put it on a hook and, catch a fish. And so I had one left over and I was like, well, I'll just make it my pet. And then I learned how I could feed it some of these little flies, with a couple of toothpicks like chopsticks. And but I did exchange that pet for a catfish, which then instead of me feeding the Hellgrammite, the catfish fed me.
It did.
So that worked out.
I love it. I love it. That's funny, Phil. How long did you have that pet for?
Just a couple of months.
Well, that's actually longer than I anticipated.
Yeah, no, it survived. I was like, wow, this is amazing. I kept waiting for it to like, turn into the Dobson fly or go belly up. But finally I'm like, nope, it's time to exchange it for a catfish.
All right. So the next question from Cynthia is, how is the internet and phone at Carmelita Gardens?
I don't know. I think it's great. Every once in a while, there might be, there's three internet providers now, so that's great. So the more competition, the better the service typically. And occasionally we have an outage, but I think just in general, Belize is good for its cell phone service and internet service for a developing country. I've been traveling some on the roads in the U.S. over the last few months, and wow, there are a lot of dead spots, especially out west, New Mexico, Arizona, and all of that. And I just realized I was like, well, okay, I'm not used to being offline like this, and so we get spoiled here. But I think my opinion, it's great. I mean, look at what we're doing, right here with the webinar, and it's crystal clear and all of that.
Yep. Perfect. And I see the next question that Cynthia is asking is about the HOA fees for amenities. And I will be honest with you, Cynthia, I don't remember the number off the top of my head. There is one, it's less than $600 a year though. So
So the 2025 is $560.91.
perfect. Thank
Just
you.
off the top of my head.
I'm glad you remember that. I didn't want to give wrong numbers here. So we can give you a list of Cynthia of everything that's included in that too. Just feel free to reach out to us. I will tell you though, Carmelita Gardens has some of the best roads in Belize. All right. And then Michael is saying, which lots are part of the community solar? So I think he means the one that Deeds has set up.
Okay, so those are where you have the community center, that row of cottages there. So I don't know where your arrow's going.
There we go.
So it says, yeah, community center. Yeah, so that row of cottages there is on the Deeds solar electric microgrid. So it's an independent company that runs the electrical service there. Now they've said that they'll expand to other lots. I mean, out throughout the community. So that will be an option. They haven't done it yet, but I guess depending on where the lot is, I think they'd like to kind of extend the line and be able to have multiple customers, like any utility company. And but most people just do their own system if they're not right there in that neighborhood.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Even within the neighborhood, some have done their own system.
Yep. And, I think that is something to Louise, the architect, she'll, sit with people as she's designing the home to really understand their needs for,
Right.
If they have X amount of air conditioners in the unit, if they have, hot water heaters, if they have this and that, what the right size solar system is to make sure that you're properly set up.
Yeah, that's the whole design. I mean, not just the solar, but the rainwater collection and storage, the capacity, and bedrooms, bathrooms, living space, office, sauna, fitness, whatever. Lifestyle and budget go, all into the design, and of course, yeah, the size of the solar package and water collections is an important part of that design criteria. And yeah, sometimes it's simple things that we don't think about that, it's like, people that have their coffee maker. Well, when you heat something up or you cool it down, so refrigeration, freezers, coffee makers, blow dryers, things like those suck a lot of energy. And so there are some people that I remember actually the very first house, the Serafina that we did, the guy, he's an engineer and a coffee freak. And he's like, yeah, so, my coffee maker. I'm like, okay, well, there's a little surge. He goes, no, no, no. I have my coffee maker on all day long. I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's different. So we accounted for that in his power needs.
Yep. Yeah, smart. Smart. So, and it's important to, as you're designing your home, folks, to talk to Louise about it and let her know what's important to you.
Right, exactly.
All right. So Michael is saying, is a motor vehicle recommended?
I would say yes. It's not it's not required. We have a number of people that do not have vehicles, their own vehicles, and they do ride sharing, things like that, and they're even somewhere the snowbirds. Are like, okay, I'm going to be gone for the next 6 months. Hey, Donald, you want to keep an eye on my truck? And Donald's like, yeah, sure, I'll keep an eye on your truck. And so it works out to do that. So you come down, make friends, figure out do you need one or not, or make a deal like other people. It's like, okay, we'll go in together, and so I would say with the road and the bridge now, it gets less and less of a need. Actually, you could ride a bicycle now to Santa Elena in the market easily. You walk or jog over there. So that's a big game changer for sure.
Well, and I know some people had e-bikes, have e-bikes, right? Or there's
Yep, I have one and it's great. Yeah, so even before, the bridge and the road, we have the fat tire e-bikes. And so we're cruising all the way over to Cristo Rey, Mountain Pine Ridge, and, back again. So yeah, again, just the accessibility just increases like every day. They pull out on the road. It's like, okay, another section is
Yeah.
done.
that's great for
And it's
biking.
very important to say too that there are cabs that go this way and also bus lines. I know that's another thing that many have asked. Is there any way for me to get back there if I don't have a car? Yes, there is.
Mhm.
Public transportation.
Mhm. And the river's not very wide, so it's just a short swim.
You got to get that canoe, get that kayak, go right across. Love it. All right. Gayla is saying, are the homes built to withstand hurricanes?
So they are designed, and built, engineered to withstand at least a category two. But I think they're probably more three, and some are even, cat four. But you never say hurricane proof. I know, building houses on barrier islands in Florida and all of that. That's just like like thumbing God's nose and saying, "I made this hurricane proof." It's like, okay, it's hurricane resistant. And
Mhm.
for Carmelita, it's primarily about the flooding. So the construction and engineering of the houses so that the foundations are all tied together and cast in place, concrete columns and beams have helped with the floods and all of that in terms of the flood goes up and it comes down and the house is there. We have not had any settling, no shifting, no cracking. And as far as hurricane force winds, by the time we get out to Cayo, we don't really have that. That's more of a barrier island or right on the coastline kind of concern. Yeah, but yeah, again, this is actually Cayo is the evacuation area for the country. When there's a hurricane bearing down on the islands and the coastline, people come to higher ground, which is Cayo. So as far as the winds, yeah, we use the hurricane clips and straps and all of that. So it's well built for weather events like that.
Yeah, perfect. And I know we're just coming on here onto the hour, and we're actually just have one more question here in our Q&A section. So I'm gonna answer that, and then I think we can wrap up, let folks get to dinner over there or their happy hour or whatever their next plan is for the evening. But this question is from anonymous attendee, and they're saying, if we purchase a home or lot, what is the next step as far as becoming a resident in Belize? So that is a very good question. There are a few different residency programs. Now, note that none of us on the line here are residency attorneys. We have the information that's given to us currently by the Belize Tourism Board and government, but it could change by the time you're doing your research and really digging into it. With that being said, the most common residency here that foreigners are getting, I would say, is the permanent residency. It does require you to be in country for 50 out of 52 weeks. It's not at all tied to your investment or your purchase, but you have to physically be here in Belize for 50 out of 52 weeks. The reason why this residency is so popular is because it's permanent. Once you have it, you don't need to reapply. You have it for life. After 5 years, you can apply for your citizenship. It allows you to work in the country. You get your bank accounts easier. You get your social security card. It's just easier to do things when you're a permanent resident. The other option that we're seeing folks taking advantage of is the QRP, the Qualified Retired Persons Program. This is good for anybody who is 40 years or older and is not planning to work in Belize on a Belize business. Now, you can still work remotely on your computer, but you cannot work for a Belize business. And with that being said, you also have to be able to show $2,000 US a month of money coming in from passive income, or however your income is coming in, but that is the minimum requirement. So people like this option because they can bring in a container load of items duty free. They can also bring in a vehicle duty free. So duties and customs can get very
And an airplane and a boat.
And all right, look at that. Look at that. You got your options. Now we just need to do an airstrip over there at Carmelita Gardens. So it has some really nice advantages. Now I've seen couples, also one will do the QRP and then the other will do the permanent residency, one for QRP to bring their things in, the other one for regular residency if they want to operate an Airbnb or do some sort of business. So there are definitely options. And I know there is an investor residency with an investment of $250,000 US into the country in land or a home. This might be good if you buy one of the resale homes. Then you get a temporary residency. You have to reapply for it every year for about 3 or 4 years. Then it becomes permanent. So you do have a couple of options there, but I'd recommend, of course, reaching out to a residency attorney for the latest and greatest. So with that, I know we're a little over our time here. I want to be respectful of everyone's time. Phil, Angie, I want to say thank you both so much for making the time for us to get on the line together and chat with everyone. We had a really great attendance, about 35 people who joined us this evening. So I'm really glad to see that. So any last words before we jump off here?
Come and visit us. Come on down. Yeah, we'd love to show you around Carmelita, Santa Familia, the Tri-Town area, and on our new road. Yeah, look forward to seeing everybody.
Awesome. All right. And if you do visit folks, make sure you're reaching out to Angie over there. Angie is there on site. She's very happy to take you around, not just Carmelita, but show you those little hidden gems in Santa Familia. Get familiar with San Ignacio and Spanish Lookout and all the fun things around. Please, folks, reach out to us, info@lunarealtybelize.com, info@lunarealtybelize.com. We're going to get all the details over to you. We will send out this recording also this evening, so you can be on the lookout for that. And in the meantime, I would say the next best thing, if you're not able to get on a plane and visit, is to do a virtual tour with Angie. She can take you around to the different lots. You can see what the area looks like from being there at ground level and see what part of the community makes the most sense for you. All right, everyone. Thank you once again and have a fantastic evening. We look forward to seeing you in paradise. Bye-bye.
Bye.